Ironworks is defined by our small batches, handmade using Nova Scotia produce that tastes wonderful.
It all began with a magazine story, of all things. Whoever picks up an in-flight magazine on Air Canada and reads En route magazine? Nobody does. I did one day. It was a story on artisan distilling. And I read it and thought, nobody is doing this in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is world famous for its fabulous fruit. What an opportunity.
We knew that people would be really interested in what we were doing because it was completely wacky, but at the same time a great adventure. And folks like an adventure. It is a bit scary because you're presenting something that you've made and you want people to like it.
We love the idea of being in a smaller community if we could make the business work. Lunenburg was an easy choice, given the great number of tourists that visit here each year, the regional population. We thought that we could make a go of it in Lunenburg.
Distilling is cooking on a very grand scale. And it's also something that you control from beginning to end. You get to meet the farmers, you get to get involved with all the beautiful produce that they create, and you get to make something even more wonderful from that.
The challenge is really pulling all the pieces together. We realize the strength of our business is not in the huge volume that we're doing, but in the small volume, high quality.
Ironworks could only exist here. This is the perfect spot for it, and there's no other place that I'd rather be doing it.
Hello, we are on the road here with Chit Chat Chop in Lunenburg at Ironworks Distillery, and we are super excited. We have Lynne here.
I don't know, it's a little early to be super excited.
It is a little early, but we're good, we're good. So we're so excited. I just got a sneak peek tour, and I can't wait to show you what's happening, but thank you for coming on Chit Chat Chop.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Yeah?
Actually, thank you for coming here.
Oh, you're welcome.
I really didn't have to do very much except come to work, so.
So I mean, your story is incredible, but you have such an array of products, and we decided to hone in on a couple this time on the show, and we're going to talk about liqueurs first, right?
Absolutely.
And yeah, you made some really valid points earlier about how liqueurs are sort of becoming, the dusty shelf holder in the liquor store that nobody buys unless it's Christmas.
They have for years.
Yes.
I mean, you go in at Christmas time and you get the sweet, creamy
yeah,
thing.
We've all had it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine, not to say that that's a bad thing. But we've found that the liqueurs that we make here at Ironworks, which are so integral to the berries that we have in the province, are neglected if they go to the NSLC or any of the liquor stores. Just because people don't buy them. They don't think, oh, I could get that really refreshing, interesting berry taste if I go for a liqueur. So although we make a lot of fabulous spirits, the liqueur side of things for us is an interesting one. And challenging, it actually provides a little bit of variation because all kinds of interesting berries out there. We're doing black currant right now. We've done cranberry, blueberry, raspberry, haskap.
You've got haskap.
We experimented with Arctic kiwi. Oh dear, don't make me go back there. So if it's a berry, if it can be frozen, squashed, and put into our alcohol, then we will make a liqueur out of it. And the other interesting thing when you have control over what you're doing, the sugars can be really reduced. So people look at liqueurs and they say, ick, I'm not going to go there because it's going to be like candy.
100%.
And ours is not. Ours is all about the berries. You balance the sugars, you being a cook would know this.
Yes.
If you balance your sugars carefully, you won't make it too sugary, you'll make it all about the flavor that's underneath. Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's what we do.
So you made some suggestions. I didn't have to do a lot of work on this one. Lynne came up and
practiced.
said, she said, we make a lot of salad dressings. So you use it at home in salad dressings for
Well,
salads?
whenever I get home and do cooking things.
Whenever you're not working.
Yeah. We've definitely experimented with them in salad dressings. I confess that there are lots of cooks. This is Lunenburg.
Yes.
So I have had outside influences when it comes to, and people will come up to you at market and say, I use it here. And you think, what a clever idea. I never thought of that. So I can't take ownership of this, but
Well, you could actually.
well, no, why bother? I don't need that. So, but it does work. I have
Awesome.
also tried. I mean, I've used the Perro de Vie for cooking fish, but that's a whole other world.
Yes.
So yeah, salad dressings with
Salad
blueberry.
dressings, it is cool. And we'll talk about the eau de vie later because that's the coolest thing
It's
ever. Mind blown, mind blown. All right, so quick vinaigrette. We have some really lovely unfiltered olive oil, which I love. Do you cook with unfiltered olive oil?
Oh yeah.
It's my favorite. And so we've got some local baby kale here from Riverview. Riverview? River Breeze, Riverview, Riverview, River Breeze, River Breeze, Riverview. It's one of those. I always get it mixed up in my head. We've got some local feta. We've got some local blueberries. We've got some pickled red onion. We do a lot of pickling.
Oh, what fun.
Yes, so that and what I love about this is you ever get a salad and there's raw onion in it and it just overpowers the entire thing.
Yes.
And then you have that onion flavor for days and days. So if you do a quick pickle on them, and we have literally deli tubs of these in the fridge, it totally mellows out and sweetens out the onion.
Interesting.
So we always have these available, and they go in a lot of our salads. And then we just have some beautiful little tomatoes.
That
So
time of year.
vinaigrette, usually 3-to-1 ratio. Do you have any tips on how you make
Absolutely
it?
none.
No.
You go,
Okay.
girl.
All right, so we're going to put some olive oil, just a little bit in. And then I like rice wine vinegar. Do you use rice wine vinegar? Just because it's lighter. Yeah. So we'll put a little bit of that in. We'll do
I love the way you measure.
Oh, yeah, I don't measure anything.
Qu'est-ce que c'est teaspoon? No,
Qu'est-ce que-
we
yeah,
don't
that's
do
right.
teaspoons, no.
Salt and pepper. And then we're going to do, what do we decide? We're going to do the blueberry,
Yes.
right? Okay. So you do the honors. You can do the blueberry. And then what I'm going to do,
No pressure.
no pressure at all.
Put a little squirt in.
A little squirt.
Maybe a little more of a squirt. There you go.
All right, so we're going to just put this down. And then I will finish whisking in. Just trying to do a quick emulsification. It's not going to stay that way if you make this and want to store it in the fridge for, a week or two. Probably
There'll
even
be
get 3
shaking
weeks.
involved later.
Yeah, there'll be shaking. Put it in a mason jar and you'll be good to go. Okay, give that a taste. Let's see. We do fingers here. Ooh, what do you think?
I would add a little bit more of the vinegar
Vinegar, okay.
and a teeny bit more blueberry.
Leaving it to her flavor profile. Okay, a little more blueberry. You like more tangy, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm a
you're
tangy
definitely
girl.
a tangy girl.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think I've ever been described as tangy.
Oh, well.
there's
Always new.
first time for everything. Eh bien.
Eh bien, eh bien. Okay. So again, really simple. We've got the kale here. We're just going to drizzle just a little bit, not too much. And usually what I do is I put a little on the bottom of the plate.
Oh.
That way, your greens don't get too soggy.
And you get that artistic little dripping thing.
Well, by the time
happening.
you put the greens on, not so much. But you could, if you had, our plate kind of goes in.
Yeah.
The other thing I do is I always season my greens, which is a key to really good salad. Because you would season everything else, right?
Things I would not know.
Yeah.
You see?
So nice. And then again, I normally place everything on top rather than mixing because these greens are pretty delicate.
And they look prettier that way.
Yeah, let me get this right in the middle so we have some shots so people can see. Right? The Patty's not hiding behind the bottles. All right, so we'll do a few blueberries.
I knew I didn't have breakfast for a reason.
Yes. And we have dessert coming up later. All right, see? And they have such a beautiful color too once you pickle them.
Absolutely.
All right, some
work of
local
art.
feta. And I kind of like to keep it a little bit chunkier
Yeah.
because I like a good bite. And then I'm going to steal that quickly. And then we just have some tomatoes. And again, you can cut these up, but these ones are so tiny, I don't
Yes.
think you need to.
No, and they're like candy themselves.
They are like
you know,
candy.
this time of year especially.
All right, look at that. Quick salad,
Ta-da.
quick vinaigrette with liqueur. And we use blueberry, but you said really any of these would work, would they not?
Yeah, actually the cranberry would be lovely as well, come to think of it. The only one
Would
that
be tangy
might,
too?
the rhubarb might, yeah, it would be. Rhubarb, possibly.
What if you did like a strawberry salad, like a strawberry
Yes.
watermelon salad with
There-
feta, with rhubarb? That would be a game changer in the world of
The
salads.
artiste at work here.
Well, there you go. So that's round one, salad.
Round one, okay.
So we are here in this beautiful space. I have to say, it's pretty incredible, and I hear it's new. It wasn't here last time I was here.
No, it wasn't actually. I was looking at photographs just recently, and this time last year, it had just kind of, sort of come out of the ground. Number of years in the planning. It's we call it the Quarry Room, built by this marvelous, talented fellow named Brad Quarry and his crew, Edwards and Quarry, and it's timber frame.
Yes.
A slightly more industrial variation on timber frame because it's not the classic mortise and tenon or whatever the heck they call it.
Mortise and tenon, you're right.
But we wanted something that looked like it would blend in with the town. Hence the clerestory windows that you see on either side. It is a small replica of what they call the old boat shed, which is where Blue Nose 2 was built. And generally speaking, once the shingles on the front age down to that lovely gray patina, it will look like it has been here since 1893, like everything else. The red touches are in keeping with the rest of the distillery building. And it all started when Pierre said we needed more room for barrels, which we now have.
You have.
Admittedly, we did not expect that we were going to be getting another still, but we are. And I would turn the camera around and show it to you right now, but it's not there.
Oh, hasn't arrived yet.
No, it hasn't. It was scheduled to arrive in the spring, and it did not. But that's so completely normal. It's the way of it. Twice the size of our Brigida at the front. Beautiful, beautiful big vodka tower, but a variable, it's a pot still with a variety of pieces that will allow us to continue to make rum and make our vodka all in one still.
Wow.
And it's going to be very grand. She'll sit over there in the corner.
But we'll come back when she's in.
Come back when she's in. There'll
Do
be
a few more
17
tours.
feet of copper column going on there. So, but as it is, this is a lovely room that we hope to have events in. We had a wonderful artist named Randy Mugford do this astounding table.
Oh, the tables are gorgeous.
The pedestal, it was made by a blacksmith who actually trained with the blacksmith from our shop here.
Oh, wow.
So there's a nice kind of a synchronicity going on there, and we'll see. I mean, it's one of those. It's evolved. It just opened a week ago, so we've got our occupancy permit. So exciting. So yeah, we'll see. We knew that the people who come here want more. They don't just want to see a distillery and buy a bottle of rum. They want to see more. They want to hear stories about what we do and what we make things out of. And to give ourselves a little venue to do that made sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. So this is the newest room. It's beautiful, awesome. You just described how great it is and all the events and things that are going to happen. But you've got a lot of other cool things happening here. So can you take us on a quick tour?
Of course.
Woo, awesome. Here we go.
Follow me. So I guess I should tell you about the genesis of this particular spot.
This is an awesome spot.
It is pretty funny. This original space used to house pigs.
The pig pen.
The Walters family, who lived right over there,
Okay.
and had the blacksmith shop, etc., had their pigs here during the Second World War.
Wow.
Now, when we moved in, the cement was not here. It was just dirt. And we put the cement in, fine and dandy. But then about a year later, we went to Normandy and we were looking around and meeting the people who make Calvados. Yeah. And so we came home and said, we could make ourselves a very small version of a Calvados cellar. Of course, it's got way more rum than Calvados in it, if the truth be known. These are bourbon barrels. They come from the bourbon industry. You see Buffalo Trace, Four Roses. So the bourbon industry can only use these once. And after that, they have to be moved along. It's good fun. These guys come from Hungary. These are made from Hungarian oak. We do a lot of different things. I mean, the part of the interesting thing, when you come to recipes, this is an integral part of our recipe. If the truth be known, you make a wonderful spirit, but what happens to it afterwards is interesting. And you can use combinations of things. You can use smaller barrels to get an effect faster.
Okay.
A small barrel will work more quickly. In fact, so quickly you have to be careful. These guys have been used once, so they are a little bit more subtle. what the effect that they bring, of course, is a bourbon effect. They also have traces of what's left from the oak, but they won't give as fast and crazy an effect as a brand new
barrel.
Yeah.
And will you use these more than once?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
Okay.
Usually we can go up to 3.
Wow,
But
okay.
then again, when you think that one usage can be up to 10 years,
It's fascinating.
it's a part of the recipe.
You're here
but
for the long haul.
Yeah, our recipes are very extended, and you honestly don't know until you open them sometimes what the results are going to be. I mean, the whiskey, we're kind of careful with the whiskey. There's one of our whiskey barrels. To watch it, to taste it as it goes by. Yes, we do have to taste things. Just to keep track of what it's doing,
Yep.
whether we want to pull it out of a barrel or not. Now, these are acacia wood. These are a little more yellow, and this is an oak.
What's the biggest surprise when you've opened one, would you say?
Holy. You know, one of the biggest surprises, right over there, there's one that will be a surprise. It's from Blomidon,
Oh, yes.
and it held wine.
Okay.
And we have done rum in a red wine barrel that ended up slightly pink. And it was delightful.
wow.
It was delightful. It was barrel 16, I remember it well. And it didn't last very long. But yeah, there's another one.
Does it ever last long?
Well, sometimes. I will say that. We've got crazy people who have, no, I shouldn't say crazy, that's really rude. We have fans who have
embrace the crazy.
who have barrels of our rum or bottles of our rum from the very, very first bottling, which was a little on the feisty side, if I do say so myself. But it was historical. You know,
Yeah.
it's like that was the first barrel out the door. It's like the World Voyage stuff that we do and the rum on the boat. And I mean, we love stories.
I know.
Frankly, it's all about the stories.
So I was going to say, for some people that don't know, they can kind of hear my mic, doesn't matter. It's kind of a behind. We
Yeah,
kind of
behind
do
the scenes.
The
Very
fourth
good.
wall is broken down. So for those that don't know, you seem to know so much about this industry and so much about how you do it. Was it always that way, or
Oh,
you
dear
had to
God,
learn?
no.
So how did you guys get
I love
into
it.
this?
Oh, dear God, no.
I know, but how did you? Because this is something you had to learn. Like, how did you do this?
Trial
I
and error.
always loved to cook. Let's put it that way. But on the other hand, I had never distilled a darn thing in my life. Pierre saw an article in a magazine, the story is sort of familiar, about, en route magazine in fact, and it outlined the artisan distilling movement in the United States, which at that time, this is 2008 fall, was just really starting to gain momentum. So he brought the magazine home. We were living in Halifax at the time, and he said, look at that. This is interesting. Neither of us had been involved in distilling. I was in the film industry, and he was in the stock photographic. He had a business that sold stock photos. And we were both kind of looking for something different to do. And this came across our plate. Learning how to distill is not, dare I say, rocket science. Learning how to distill well is a little tricky, and that's where you learn as you go along. Essentially what you're doing is boiling and condensing.
Yeah.
You know, and chemistry takes care of the rest. You have to know how to ferment nicely. You have to choose your yeasts well. You have to have an environment that you can control to a certain extent. Ours is a little bit out of control here because we don't apply heat or cool. And we've got areas that we don't, like down here. This gets very cold in the winter. So you learn the intricacies as you go along, but the basics are pretty straightforward. Our good fortune was finding this building, finding Lunenburg, finding this space in which to do this work. And it's created the stories that we weren't going to make rum.
What?
I know.
What
Go
were you going
figure.
to make?
We were going to make fruit eau de vie. What is an eau de vie, you ask yourself? Of course, we figured that out very quickly. People don't know what we're going to make. This will be tricky. So there were people who kept asking, well, are you going to make rum? Are you going to make rum? Of course, we said, okay. The mandate was
There seems to be a need.
There seems to be a need. Well, we're Nova Scotia. How stupid are we? So we were going to use products that grew in Nova Scotia. That was the mandate. And we knew there was fruit that was grown here that would make wonderful apple brandy and pear eau de vie and things of that nature. But it's Nova Scotia. It's history. It's the sea. It's the sailors. It's the port. It's the rum running. It's layers of history. So we looked at ourselves and said, okay, what is a local product that can be made into rum that people will relate to, not necessarily grown here? We're talking molasses. So Crosby's molasses, it's been on my kitchen table for
Me
breakfast
too,
since
from
I was
St.
a very
John's,
small
yeah.
child. So molasses, we started bringing that in, started making rum, and as they say, the rest has sort of become history. And that was the one element that we said, okay, that product will be started with sugarcane grown elsewhere. But it will be fermented, it will be distilled, it will be aged here. And it's become kind of our mainstay. It really
You
has.
said 2008, that's when you started?
2008, November
Same
2008.
year as me?
Yeah.
Same year as Kitchen Door?
Yeah,
11, yeah.
Look at this, and this like angelic.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a really cool story to hear about. We're going to go
All
into the
right.
front shop. Okay.
I'll go and get the.
Look how hot this is. Bang my head.
You are, believe me, but be very careful.
Here we go.
We've got a bumper.
Nice talk. You're standing in, of course, our main retail area.
Yes.
Which was the former Walters blacksmith shop. 3 generations of Lunenburg Walters blacksmiths worked at this forge.
Wow.
And the last of whom was actually alive and living in the house next door when we moved in. He was very funny. He thought we'd owe another failed business for my shop. He was very grumpy about the whole thing. But you know, he really mellowed, and I think he was touched when we called the place Ironworks.
Yeah.
Because they did not do horseshoes and things for animals. They did ironworks. If it was metal and it needed to be bent and put on a ship, that's what they did. He did the ironwork for Blue Nose 1, Blue Nose 2,
Wow.
the Bounty, the Rose. All of the vessels, the sailing vessels that needed work, were done here by the Walters family. So all of these bits and pieces of iron that are still hanging about were made by his grandfather. And this forge was active until early 2000s.
Early 2000s?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was grandfathered into, interestingly enough, it being Lunenburg, it's a UNESCO site, it was grandfathered into the town that the blacksmith shop could continue to A, function, and B, burn soft coal. And so
Wow.
when we arrived on the scene
Yes.
and people realized we were going to be burning wood instead, there was a certain degree of relief because we weren't burning soft
coal.
So everybody's washing would now stay clean on their lines. Always good. So we brought in Birgitta, our beautiful beast back there.
Birgitta.
Yes.
She's a beaut.
No. Actually, that's interesting. I never put 2 and 2 together. I had originally given her an Italian name. I called her Bella, but someone pointed out she was from Germany and should have a German
name.
So there we are. Brigitte, she's
a beaut.
She's a very sweet thing, and she's the one of a kind at this point because she works on fire. Very unusual.
around, there you
and
go.
the thing that's really funny is that this is completely classically normal in Germany and France. Well, a lot of the stills work on wood fire. It's so normal. However, building laws being what they are here,
Yes.
this is a rare thing for us to have her, and now the new still that we get will not have that available to us. But that's okay because she is going to be. We've worked her to death, poor thing. I mean, this still is designed. There are in the town where we got her, which is Oberkirchtiergarten. There are hundreds and hundreds of stills in this small town. Every town.
Wow.
Well, it's in the Bavarian region,
Okay.
the Black Forest, really verdant area, lots of agriculture going on, and every farm is permitted to have their own still. And in order to run it
love that.
efficiently, they have a wood fire. There's a strict restriction on how much you can do, but they want people to be able to use the refuse, that's the wrong word, the residue from whatever process to be able to make beverages.
Wow.
So they do a tremendous amount of eau de vie over there, the classic fruit brandies.
Okay.
That's kind of the center, which is why we did our training there. So it's like a double boiler.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the jacket. What you're seeing there is the water that's in the double boiler.
Okay.
And this is the pot that sits in it. So that's why it's called a pot still.
So simple.
And
The
right
things
now,
I'm learning.
Right now we are making gin. And if
One of my favorites.
Oh yes. So hang on half a second. We'll turn.
Wow. Oh, you need a shot of that. Get right in there. Woo!
I won't leave it on long because the agitator's a bit shaky.
So the double boiler would be like the recent same thing for when you're cooking, just so it doesn't burn
Yeah.
because of the sugars and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
really simple.
Love it.
So we
Love,
have
love,
in there
love.
our 7 botanicals that go into our gin. And it will distill very slowly. You take a long time to distill gin. You don't run it fast. And yeah, it'll be coming out here in a few hours.
Few hours. Love it. All right, so let's go over here because this is very exciting.
It is
Around the world rum.
Around the world rum. Well, when we started aging rum on a boat, which we have the boat. Oh my goodness, you can see it now.
Oh, because the fog's
Coming,
lifted.
it's coming out through the fog. It's that little black and white boat out there. Yeah.
You got it?
Her name is Black Beauty. She's just she's ugliest boat in the harbor. Black, white, flat, nothing. It's actually becoming a little bit of an attraction to the tour boats, but anyway.
Okay.
So we realized that aging rum on a boat improves its flavor, and it really does.
It really does.
It really does. I mean, yes, okay, there's a certain marketing effect to it there, I will confess, but it has a livelier taste.
Okay.
I don't know how to really express it. It's like it has additional spiciness, and it's because heat, humidity, and movement.
Yeah.
And those 3 factors in a boat like that, where it's black and it gets very hot in the summertime, those will be really working there. So we have Picton Castle, who sails out of Lunenburg.
Yes.
And we approached them about putting rum in their hold a year and a half ago, because it was February 11th.
Embrace
That's
the
right.
crazy.
February 11th, 2018. And so we said, can we put some rum in your hold? And they said, that sounds like a fun idea. So these barrels, and these are the exact barrels, they still have their excise locks on them, went into the hold of Picton and stayed there for the entire voyage. They left in March. They came back a year and a bit later. So they came back June 1st this summer. At which point we got the barrels out of the hold, and yes, they were still there, and yes, they were still full. Everybody said they wouldn't be, but they were. And the rum tastes delightful. I attest to that. It's contained in here because we've been waiting for the bottles. Oh, many layered story. The bottles are designed by a wonderful young woman named Cara Highfield, who's an artist here in town. And the shape of the bottles evokes the ship, which you will see in a minute. So she designed the bottles. We had the bottles made at a company in France, thank you, my dear, who have been making porcelain.
Yeah, I got the bag. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Beaut.
So the container actually has the voyage on it.
That's cool.
So all of the ports of call are represented on the box. The box is made here by a fellow who does all of our wooden boxes. He makes them out of pine, Nova Scotian pine, and etched in Halifax. Once again, our wonderful designer Stephen Bishop did all this work.
Beautiful.
So it comes in this lovely box, and then what we have is the bottle. And there's Picton Castle. If Picton were coming straight at you, this is what you'd see.
That is probably one of the coolest things
Isn't
I've
it pretty?
seen.
I mean, and the company where we had it was made in France at a porcelain company, where they've been making porcelain dinnerware and bottles for about 250 years. It's in the Alps. It's a really neat place. It's called Revol, and those bottles just landed yesterday. Cleared customs this week, and they're on their way to us, at which point we will be filling the bottles and starting.
And this will be available when?
Probably mid-August.
Mid-August.
And it's a partnership, because it's a partnership with Picton, the proceeds we're splitting with them 50% for their scholarship fund.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of fun, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's always yet more story with us, and we'll continue our liaison with Picton. We have plans for other voyages that they're going to be doing.
That's great. And this is available.
It will be available here, but principally we have online ordering as well.
Okay.
Yes, you can buy it from anywhere in Nova Scotia, but we do have it available online, and we will ship it to wherever it needs to be shipped.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
how cool.
What the heck? You got to be able to have a story involved. Otherwise, I'd have nothing to say. That'd be wrong.
Perfect.
Good fun.
All right, should we head back down? Do some dessert?
Sounds good to me.
Dessert, I love it. So we're back here in the Quarry Room. Lots of stories, lots of cool things that we got to hear about. But we're back to liqueurs. But before we do liqueurs with our quick dessert, I have to say, this is one of the coolest things I've seen. And I was like, how did they get that pear in the bottle?
Oh, yes.
Yes, but it's just miraculous, isn't it?
Well, we wish we could take credit for it, but the Europeans have been doing it for generations.
Okay.
And we're just copying something that fruit-growing regions in France and Germany have been doing. But it's a fabulous project. We love it. It represents everything about our commitment to agriculture in Nova Scotia and the products of Nova Scotia. Yeah. And it's always a fun trip in the spring to put the bottles on the trees, and a fun trip in the fall to harvest the pear in the bottle.
Yeah. So they actually put the bottle on the tree and zip tie it by the looks of it?
Couple of zip ties.
Couple of zip ties, maybe a few little other things?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Make sure it's relatively secure, but still has movement for the wind and movement of the branches, and protects the little fruit that is already pretty well developed when we do it.
Okay.
Because you want to separate the good ones from the bad ones, and so it's the fruit's well developed, not too big to not fit in the top of the bottle, but big enough to show that it's already healthy.
This was our 10th year
10th year doing this?
You're kidding.
I know. I actually. No, I checked. And we had 2010.
And
The first year we did it.
Really? So I've done it 10 times, and you were there twice,
3.
right?
Oh, the other half. The other half.
Someone
Well,
must
there's
have mined the
always
store.
important duties back at the
Always
office,
important,
and
yes.
Head office, so to speak.
So one of the other recommendations you made about liqueurs is you said dessert, which was a go-to for me, obviously.
Indeed.
But I liked what you said. You take a warm brownie and you pour some liqueur over it and then top it with some whipped cream. So I thought,
So easy.
how simple is that? So these are kitchen door chocolate espresso brownies. These were one of our first products.
Really?
So we sell these, we sell these retail. We use them on a lot of our events, but they are sort of an outrageous brownie. So the really great chocolate, really good cocoa, high end. They're expensive to make, but they're darn good.
Yes.
Darn good. So I thought
That's
we.
why I'm here. I heard
I left a bag in the kitchenette up there, so there's lots of snacks for everyone.
That's already gone.
Yeah, already gone.
Sorry.
Breakfast of champions, lunch of champions. So we have your raspberry liqueur here, but you said, blueberries worked. Raspberry and chocolate, though, you can't go wrong, right?
Yes.
And so I'll let you do the honors, and I'll do the whipped cream.
Oh, mercy.
Mercy.
Well, do the whipped cream first, because the raspberry
okay.
drizzles so prettily over the top
Oh,
of
so
white.
prettily. It's a little humid, but there we go. I love this. Woof. Oh, and then we have some fresh local raspberries.
Oh, God.
Oh, look, we're kind of making there we go. All right.
Messes. It's all good.
Dig in, try her out.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get at least one taste.
Looks fabulous to me.
And the thing that's neat about this is it's so simple, and yet it looks really elegant.
Great for dinner parties. Yeah.
And often people are asking, what can we do with our liqueurs? Because they're shy about making fancy cocktails or doing anything too elaborate. And we always tell them, raspberry, pour it over anything chocolate. Anything that originates in chocolate, pour it over ice cream.
Yeah.
That's when people go, yes.
Yeah. The
And
simplest
it
is
makes
probably
it-
ice cream.
Right?
Yes.
Any of them.
Exactly, and it
Yeah.
makes for a very fabulous tasty
Especially
dessert.
when you've got a true berry taste like this that isn't too sugary.
Well, I have to say, I learned a lot of stories. I love the stories. That's what makes it.
Stories are the best.
Yeah, stories are the best. So thanks again. And when you get your, do we have a name for the new still yet?
No, we haven't met her yet.
We haven't met her yet.
Somebody
so I haven't
asked me
named
that.
her.
Somebody asked me that
Are they
online.
always female?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Generally
learning things.
speaking.
Okay.
Like ships.
Yes.
And it's German as well.
Yes.
So Lisa.
We went and no, sorry. I have to meet her first. I'm not committing. We have to get to know her.
Get to
before
know
we
her.
can give her.
Well, once you get to know her and she has a name, we'd love to come back with Chit Chat Chop on the road and visit her and see what else you're doing. Because you're always doing something by the sounds.
We seem to be.
Well, that's it. Stay tuned for next time. Chit Chat Chop on the road. Who knows where we'll go next. Thanks for joining.